Hey miracle workers, I feel moved to share a story with you today that I shared on one of the recent Course in Miracles Sunday night study group calls that I facilitate every week, because the topic of fear of death and also fear of surgery came up. And lo and behold, about 2 years ago from the time that I'm filming this video, I underwent surgery myself, anesthesia, had to go to the hospital to do it, the whole shebang, and it was a huge opportunity for growth for me, an opportunity to deepen my relationship with my inner teacher, my inner guide. And it was an opportunity to allow more blocks to the awareness of love to be undone in my own mind. So surgery, whether you're facing that, a medical issue, or any other situation in life, it's always an opportunity to take it to spirit, to see it differently. So essentially, in my experience, leading up to this surgery, again, I've done a lot of work with the Course for a long time, and most of my anxiety issues always surrounded the body. Bodily fears, fears of sickness, fears of something being wrong with my body. And leading up to this surgery, although I did feel anxious and I did feel nervous, especially on the day of, it was as if I was touching the split mind. Because, and I'll explain what I mean about that in just a moment, but although there were fears and some anxiety there, it felt to me to be on the surface. Something deep down in the core of my being was still rock solid, still knew that nothing could hurt me, and that this experience that I seemed to be going through didn't change truth in the slightest bit. It didn't change the truth about who I am and who we all are. And so in sort of seeing that contrast, and the Course talks about learning through contrast, being able to see the contrast of feeling anxiety and yet experiencing a deep sense of knowing that everything was fine, that to me was an experience of touching the split mind. And the split mind, A Course in Miracles teaches that we have a split mind. Part of our mind has not left truth. It is unchanged. It is purely eternal and whole and healed and happy. And this part of our mind has never left God, despite this crazy dream that we're dreaming. There is part of our mind, however, that believes that we're here in this level of form and we are dreaming this crazy dream that we seem to think that we're in. So through this process of awakening, through this process of taking our fears, our beliefs to spirit, we're essentially healing this split, coming to recognize that there actually is no split, that truth just is, and everything else just falls away. So interesting things came about for me as a result of this surgery experience. Whenever for me things get really stressful, I get to work. That's a time when I really get deep down and dirty into my own mind and turning to spirit and just releasing all of my attachments, my desires, my beliefs. I call it my laundry list. I've written about this before on my site, From Anxiety to Love, where I will literally go through everything that's important to me. And in my mind, I'll just hurl it, I'll throw it into Spirit's hands or place it into Spirit's hands. My life, I give to Spirit. My body, I give to Spirit. My relationships, all the things that are important to me, I will give to Spirit. And leading up to this surgery, I was doing just that. I was giving everything over to Spirit. I did a lot of very deep letting go leading up to this experience of surgery. The interesting thing that happened was that afterwards, after the surgery was over and I was, fully recovered, I started to notice that fears that had been part of my construct of Corinne forever started to fall away. They did fall away. Suddenly that summer, I realized I had no fear of the ocean and of playing in big waves. Previously, I'd be petrified and really, really nervous being in the ocean when there were any kinds of waves because I grew up in a place where the water was always flat and crystal clear, not waves crashing. I began bodyboarding again, playing in the ocean waves and having an absolute blast. I noticed suddenly that my fear of going into my intimidation of traveling into New York City, particularly alone, that fell away as well. So I started noticing all of these fears that I had been hanging on to for so long suddenly were just gone. I didn't do anything to make them fall away. They just weren't there anymore. And that to me showed how this deep healing, this deep letting go, this willingness to turn to spirit within and give spirit our perceptions, my beliefs, my attachments, really works in dropping the blocks to the awareness of love in our own mind. So there's a part 2 to this story that I will share in the next video blog, because another huge miracle came about this with a physical healing for somebody else that was related to my experience and my work with the Course. So I'll share that further. The takeaway, remember just that everything is an opportunity to deepen our trust and to enhance our awareness of the love that we are. Thanks so much.